It's time for At the Controls with Glenn Rubenstein.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to At the Controls, the Twit Gaming Show. This is release candidate number 15 of our extended beta phase. Yes, we're in beta, not quite as long as Gmail, but, you know, we're working on it. I am indeed Glenn Rubenstein. With me, as always, is Tom Merritt. How's it going, Tom?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
And, of course, Brian Brushwood. What's up, Brian?
Howdy, ladies and gentlemen, from beautiful Greencastle, Indiana.
Lovely.
I love
lovely.
Greencastle.
And joining us today as special guest, normally the man who is at the controls of At the Controls, Alex Gumpel, live from the Penny Arcade Expo in beautiful Seattle, Washington.
I'm in Cleveland, New York right now. I'm at the Pancake and Xylophone convention.
Oh, it's a different PAX.
Different PAX, not the one I thought.
Right.
Different one.
Well,
different
that
one.
changes our questions for you.
And we'll get to Alex in a couple of minutes. But first, Tom, what do we have in the news?
Earlier this week, GameStop started opening up boxes of Deus Ex Human Revolution and removing online coupons to give you a free version of the game for online because they cited potential competition with GameStop's streaming game service. GameStop is now sorry that they did that, although they're not going to let the coupons go out in the games. They're going to get a whole new batch from Square Enix. GameStop is giving customers $50 gift certificate cards and a buy two, get one free pre-owned purchase offer to anyone who bought the standard PC version of Deus Ex Human Revolution from the retailer earlier this week.
Electronic Arts' Origin gaming service probably isn't spying on you.
Oh, that's good to know.
There was a bit of controversy this week when people actually read the end-user license agreement that EA had, which said that it allowed them to collect personal data, personal and usage data for marketing purposes. Now, they've tweaked this a little bit where they got rid of the marketing purposes language, but they could still collect non-personally identifiable data, including computer configuration, software usage, and what peripherals you have connected. Now, EA...
Also moles. I believe it's moles.
EA claims that the data they collect will help them improve products and services, and they also state that it would never sell your personally identifiable information to anyone.
Never.
So, new rumors circulating around the Nintendo 3DS following the price drop down to $169. We're now hearing rumors that a redesign will be revealed at a trade show next month. The rumors based on invitations for a trade show centered around 3DS on September 13th.
Attention, PAX attendees. You listening, Alex?
No.
Well, listen up. You can get a free OnLive system valued at $99. Those of you who bought a physical copy of Deus Ex on PC can play using that code key they got free. Of course, unless they bought it at GameStop, which we mentioned earlier. To get your free account, you'll need to sign up on OnLive's website, then visit the company's booth at PAX. That's booth 258. Alex, with your username, and you'll receive your free hardware.
Sonic CD is coming to most systems before the end of the year. Sonic CD, which is mostly by most people regarded as the best of the Sonic games, is coming to Xbox Live, PSN, iOS, PC, Android, and Windows Phone. The port will be out on at least one platform by the end of 2011, and it will include music from the original Japanese soundtrack. Now, no pricing information has been announced, but we should be expecting it for less than $10. The first 3 Sonic games are, of course, currently available on the Xbox Live Marketplace for $5 or 400 points each. No word yet on a 3DS or Wii port.
Hey, do you guys remember that game Hawken that I showed you guys? The giant big battle mech one? Get this. The movie rights to Hawken have been snatched up by DJ2 Entertainment. Dimitri M. Johnson, owner of the company, described the story behind Hawken. Now, what do you think of when you think of Hawken? You think of the giant robots blowing up stuff in a big city. He described it as Romeo and Juliet meets District 9. So all I can think of is some hot star-crossed interspecies love.
That's the best kind.
Sexy.
The story behind the game apparently has very little to do with the movie. Fear not, the game is still on its way. In fact, there'll be a new gameplay trailer that'll be played at PAX, according to Hawkins' Twitter feed. Our correspondent, Alex, will be there to cover PAX and possibly bring back footage for next week's show. Have you seen it yet, Alex?
I'm sorry, I was distracted by a lot of people walking by. What was the game again?
Hawken.
The one with the giant mech robots tearing stuff up.
The name does ring a bell, so I think I did see something, and I was bringing the camera around, so I'll...
I think he really is at the Pancake Expo. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you refute the idea that PC gaming is dead? How can we do this? Let me tell you how. You take out a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal where all those gamers are bound to see it. That's actually exactly what Razer did. They promised an announcement which turned out to be a $2,800 laptop. Stealing a page from the Apple playbook. Here are the specs. 2.8 gigahertz Intel i7, 2640M, 8 gig of DDR3 RAM, 17.3-inch LED display, 1920 by 1080 resolution, NVIDIA GeForce GT 555M, built-in HD webcam, integrated 60-watt per hour battery, 320 gigabyte, 7200 RPM SATA drive, wireless BGNN, and weighing in at a luscious, meaty 6.97 pounds. We'll call it 7. The innovative laptop also has a color display touchpad that's located to the right of the keyboard. Sorry, lefties. The screen will also display information from the game, and there are 10 programmable keys above it as well. The images on the buttons are dynamic based on the game you're playing and can be programmed for individual games. The portable beast should be coming out in the fourth quarter of 2011. For those of you who only think the fourth quarter applies to football, that means towards the end of the year.
Dude, I'm going to tell you something. I'm in the middle. You'll notice I'm not going to touch the computer I'm broadcasting from for the duration of this broadcast because it is seriously, you touch it wrong and it just goes straight to sleep and dies. I need a new laptop very badly. And after much deliberation, I finally decided to go with an Origin PC. And then this drops today. As I'm ordering the other unit, it is beautiful. It looks like a MacBook Pro. And we've got some video. If you click on that YouTube video at around the 45-second mark in, you can actually see it. The programmable keys and the color display over the touchpad, really innovative stuff. And I know you're rolling your eyes at it being almost 7 pounds, but in the world of gaming, this is nothing. This is thin and light. I'm used to lugging around this 9-pound beast.
Well, sure, if you compare it to like an Alienware laptop or something like that. You're right.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And I'll tell you, the one thing that disappoints me is the fact that they don't have an SSD hard drive in there. That really surprised me that they would, for this kind of margin, this kind of price point, that they wouldn't be able to.
No, you know what they went for? They went for the capacity, I think.
Yeah.
Over the performance of the speed and everything, which I don't know about that choice, but.
Well, and that's understandable, and I think like the unit that I'm having made now, it's got an SSD primary drive and then like a 3/4 of a terabyte data disk as well. But I'm telling you, man, this thing looks so pretty. I seriously considered continuing to try to lug around this broken beast for another 3 months just so I could jump on the Razer bandwagon.
You could definitely get a laptop with those same specs for cheaper, but it's not going to have that pretty
I think the
programmable keyboard thing there over on the right.
It's similar we're talking about with the Wii U, the idea of having an additional display to control your games. I mean, and that's taking.
Although, as a left-handed mouser, I'm not impressed.
Yeah,
it's way over there on the right. Huh?
Are you really a left-handed mouser?
Yeah.
We learn new things about Tom all the time.
I feel betrayed. Like
when I play games, I game left-handed. I mean, I can use a mouse on the right if I have to, if it's just set up that way. But when I game left.
So,
have you not read Tom's blog, Southpaw Gamer?
Yes. One of the
just complaining about controls for left-handed gamers.
Stupid mouses. All the good gaming mouses are right-handed. They suck. It's actually true.
So some of the novel ways that they were talking about this second display being used is you could actually be watching a tutorial from YouTube on this secondary monitor while you use it.
But it's a pretty small monitor.
What it does is it has a default position when you use it as a pointing device, but when you have a mouse, it switches over to being a second monitor built into your system so that you can have crib notes, or you can have a YouTube video playing along, or even, I assume down the road, why not, like a video conference call or something.
It could be cool. I'm looking forward to checking it out when it's released.
Absolutely, coming this fall.
Up to the hype. Let's move on to our guest, who normally is in the studio and at the controls of At the Controls, Alex Gumpel. Alex, are you there?
I am here, Glenn.
Alex, describe the scene at Penny Arcade Expo.
Well, there's a hallway, and there's lots of people in it. Some of them are dressed kind of strangely.
Have you seen Gabe Rivera?
I have not.
So what's hot at the show? What have you checked out so far?
Oh, perfect timing.
Okay, here we go.
With the whole pathway of craziness going on with some cameras. I'll have some photo back. But I pretty much just kind of skimmed through everything. You know, there's a whole. I think the coolest, one of the coolest things there is that people seem to be crowding around is the Battlefield 3 booth. There's just crazy line in that. Like, so I don't know how long that line is, but it's crazy long. Same thing with Skyrim and Rage. I saw Rage. That was pretty cool because what they did about. And let's see, there's a Halo anniversary, not Halo, the Fest, sorry, going on, and all sorts of cool Halo memorabilia on this there, which is actually pretty awesome. If you remember the Halo 3 trailer, the Believe trailer that had a big model with stop motion, and not stop motion, but it's like a still model with camera panning around. They had that model on display, and that was awesome. You could craft and ship in there. You could see it both. They had a big warthog there, like the Weta full-size drivable warthog that I may not have stolen. And just, I don't know. Honestly, I have to admit that for me, the PAX event is not so much about PAX itself in my book. It's actually more about the social experience of meeting up with. It's an excuse for all your internet friends to kind of come together and just hang out with. So that's actually what I've been more focused on than PAX itself.
So the code, that's code for drinking, right?
Exactly, yes.
So a lot of people are concerned, Alex, that you are just in the alley behind the Twit studio. Could you turn your camera briefly so we could see the scene?
If my bandwidth doesn't break this up, you should be seeing a hallway.
Yeah.
That's a sweet hat that dude's wearing.
Is that a box on his head?
Big pink hats. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I've seen a bunch of people wearing those.
Is that the Minecraft heads? Because we saw a bunch of those at E3. A bunch of people were wearing blocky Minecraft.
Oh, I saw one Minecraft head. They're not those.
So did you say you saw the Rage's paycheck booth or just Rage?
It's a little bit of both. I think they're working together to marketing, cross-marketing.
So is this your first PAX, or you've been to PAX before?
No, this is my second PAX. I went in 2008. And it's basically the same experience, in just different games now on display, but it's the same experience as hanging out with the internet friends that you never actually see.
Has the bandwidth improved?
No, obviously not. I'm on a whatever the free Wi-Fi thing is. It's awful. It's just awful.
It's better than a slideshow of you.
This is true.
We can actually hear what you're saying.
I'm amazed by that, considering it's actually pretty noisy in here. I came up to, this is like the upper 5th floor, where I think there's tabletop games going around, and when we were first, it was pretty quiet and not very many people here, and there's an outlet so we plugged in. But now, it's gotten really loud, and people are just walking through, so if you can hear me, hooray, it worked.
Yeah. Well, we definitely don't want to keep you from all your socializing. We wanted to get a sort of check in and get a feel on it.
So what are, if I can ask really quick, what are the number 1 and 2 things that you're looking for? Obviously, you want to see all your friends, but is there anything that you know is going to be there that is the must-view item while you're there at PAX?
When I have time, because that is the game that
we didn't hear which one.
Which game is that?
Is that oh God, you can't hear me, can you?
No, we can't.
We actually only lose you when you tell us which game you're so excited about seeing.
It's that one, that game with the guy and some cars. You know?
Say it 4 times. We're bound to hear one of them.
Rage.
Rage! Hey, Rage!
Yes!
Fantastic.
Well, the good news for those people listening is that, or watching us live, is that Alex has a camera with him, and he's shooting some footage that he could show us next week when he gets back.
Yes.
But we wanted to check in with him live on the scene.
And this is what we got. Damn it. It's not Alex's fault.
By the way, this just in from the chat room. They're pretty sure that the game isn't Rage. They're just saying that Alex is enraged right now. He's very frustrated with bandwidth.
He was quoting some Dylan Thomas.
That's right.
Yeah. So there you go. That's my first report, and I'm sure it really shows it's my first report.
No, it's good, man. It's good. So Alex Gumpel on the scene at PAX. Stop and say hi to him if you see him there on the floor. And Alex, get your free on live console. Sign up for that. Get your free micro console.
And for anyone who is watching who in the area, I have a backpack full of Twit swag to hand.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, go find Alex.
So if you want some Twit swag, say that 5 times fast.
I'll be at words and
just look for the tall guy with the hair.
If you can decode from his Skype where he'll be.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll just give out my personal phone number.
Excellent. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate
Thank you, Alex. Alex Gumpel, our man on the scene at Penny Arcade Expo.
Braving the horrible bandwidth to bring us a report, an intrepid report from the floor at
Watching
PAX.
through I can see that my services are sorely missed.
And being wow.
We'll have Alex back in the studio next week. Special programming note, both Tom Merritt and Brian Brushwood will not be on the show next week because they'll be at Dragon Con. So sitting in with me on the show will be Ayaz Akhtar, and Alex Gumpel will be back in the studio, and we will have special guests to be announced. That's next Friday.
Oh, I like him.
I enjoy his work. It's good. Good stuff.
Thanks, Alex.
Moving on to control issues. So we talked a little bit about the Razer and what that means for interfaces and PC gaming. One thing I wanted to talk a little bit about just briefly is territoriality with this GameStop Deus Ex controversy, because it's been speculated for a while now that this was coming. People have said, oh, EA is going to pull their games off Steam because they have Origin. And in the internal memo that GameStop circulated about removing the codes from Deus Ex, they specifically cited that they didn't want to promote OnLive because they have their own streaming game service coming next year.
So wait a minute. What are you trying to say? Because you mentioned EA, not GameStop.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, what I'm saying is people have speculated that a company was going to do this, essentially. People have speculated that someone was going to strike. But when EA has said,
so because what happened was,
oh no, EA, it's a
Square Enix delivered Deus Ex: Human Revolution with a coupon for a free version of the game on OnLive. GameStop currently has a digital download store and plans to have a streaming store like OnLive.
Yes.
They said, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
We are not selling boxed copies of games with a coupon for our competitors. So instead of sending them back, they thought, well, we could still sell them. We'll just have our GameStop employees take the coupons out.
Which is crazy. That right
Once
there
people
is
found
nuts.
out about this memo, they said, well, this is nuts. We've gotten mad at GameStop before for opening new games and selling them as new. Now they're going through and taking away something from us that belongs to us. And the fact of the matter is, contractually, this is probably legal. We don't really know the relationship between Square Enix and GameStop, but Square Enix has come out and said, no, GameStop's doing the right thing. We shouldn't have been providing a competitor's coupon. They have the right to decide what is in the products they sell. So that implies that there is a contractual obligation there for Square Enix not to do this.
Yeah.
But GameStop finally got around to doing the right thing, which is say, we're not going to sell Deus Ex: Human Revolution in the stores until they send us copies of the game that don't have the coupon in them.
So this is really the first shot fired, though.
Somebody's getting fired for not figuring this out
ahead of time. But in this
of time.
digital turf war, because before when you saw EA games, I think it was with Alice, Madness Returns, that wasn't offered on Steam, and people were like, oh, is EA holding back because of Origin? And Steam was saying, no, it just had something to do with different channels and partners and agreements and whatnot. Like, oh, it was just a little snafu. But I think now with GameStop having done this and having it blown up in their face spectacularly, maybe we'll see that people won't try these sort of, slightly underhanded strong-arm tactics.
I could see if I bought a camera at Walmart and it had a coupon for like 20% off or free photo developing at Target, and Walmart does photo developing, Walmart would be like, no, we're not going to sell a box that has a coupon for a competitor.
You're arguing the pro.
I'm saying that GameStop has a point. They have a point here, which is like, why would we want to sell something that has a coupon for a competitive service when we know what to me this means? We know full well that our brick and mortar business is going away.
Yeah.
And that we have to build up our digital business, and I think they're right there.
Yeah, I mean,
did you guys hear that they're they're offering a $50 coupon now to apologize.
Yeah, I heard that earlier in the show when I mentioned it.
Yeah, I think that was our top news story, Brian. Good to know Brian listens to the show when he's not talking.
What's funny is somebody in the chat room was asking about it. And well, here's what, and I remember why I brought this up is because I wanted to interrupt you when you said it, but we were talking news and there was no place to do it. It seems like of all the people is it the people who bought the game that feel so terribly wronged that they didn't get their on live coupon? Or I don't know. It seems like they're apologizing to the wrong people. Because if they bought the game, they got the game, and is missing out on a coupon really worth a $50?
It is definitely this thing where if they had never shipped the game with the coupon to GameStop, nobody would have been upset. What have happened would have said, hey, if you buy it at Target, you get a coupon for OnLive, so don't buy it at GameStop. But that would have been the worst thing that would have happened. But because GameStop got it with the coupon, somebody didn't do their job and figure this out ahead of time. And because GameStop made the further stupid move of sending a memo to their employees saying, pull a coupon out of a box, open a box, and then sell it as new, when they've had controversy about that very thing before, and the GameStop employees themselves are going to go, screw that. I'm not pulling that coupon out. In many cases, it's a PR disaster.
I'm racking my brain. I think there were similar controversies to this back like 10 years ago, where an album would include like a digital coupon to get like a digital copy online, and I think there was something similar, like Tower Records or
you know what? Now that you're mentioning that, I remember that too. Like one chain particularly was like, no, we don't want to have this.
Yeah, because they saw
coupon.
the threat of digital music.
But I don't think even then that they opened the CDs, took out the coupon, and then tried to sell them as new. I think they just send them back to
It's really weird. I mean, when you think about that, and you think about all those unclaimed coupons, a lot of GameStop employees probably enjoying their digital copy of Deus Ex.
Well, on Tech News Today, we've had a few people contact us and say, hey, I went to GameStop and I bought it and I got the coupon, or I asked them about it, and the GameStop guys gave me the coupon.
Yeah, retail is just, I mean, it's weird, I mean, I know it's sort of tangential, but I mean, retail's kind of been got some shady stuff going on lately. I mean, this week I was telling you, like, the HP touchpad drama.
Yeah,
There's been lots of stuff about retail employees, like, hoarding, stuff and flipping and whatnot. I mean, it's interesting when you think about the flaws of brick and mortar distribution that you're dealing with.
Slow.
Well, but you're dealing with the morality of both companies and individual employees. I mean, so much can go wrong, and GameStop has had their controversies in the past about
and
things.
I know the temptation. Why? And Brian, I'd like to hear your opinion on this. GameStop probably said, well, instead of sending them back and asking for clean copies, let's just pull the coupons out, because they know in the digital age, when things move so fast, there are plenty of people who say, oh, you don't have Deus Ex Human Revolution? Well, I'm buying it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Right. No, and there certainly is, and let's face it, if everybody was on the same page, they said, look, here's the thing. We were supposed to get copies that didn't have a competitor's coupon in it. We got these that have a competitor's coupon in it. If we send them back, then it's a loss for us. It's a loss for our customers. Everybody loses. Why don't we just yank the coupons out? It's something that on the surface very much makes sense. It's like, we don't want to have to send them back. We don't have to wait for new copies. We don't want to have angry customers as we tell them that we don't have what they came here to buy. We'll just take it out, and it will be as though it's the same as us getting the units without the competitors' coupons in it. But as we've seen with a number of other issues, and we've talked about this on Frame Rate, what seems to make sense as being just as good as oftentimes has very serious unintended consequences. And there's no doubt that this is nothing short of a PR disaster. But on the subject of territoriality, I noticed that you'd also mentioned EA and their Origin service right here, and I'm really conflicted as, like, I'm predisposed. I love Steam so much that I want to hate Origin right out of the box. But obviously, I'm going to have to get it to get Star Wars The Old Republic, and who knows, maybe it'll be good. And I would imagine that the customer should theoretically only benefit from having more online store, more online distribution compete with each other to get novel interfaces, novel achievement systems, and better customer service for the actual end user. However, it's really hard because right now, I for the first time, or at least on this issue, I find myself wanting to go full-on communist, like, no, there's only one way, it's Steam. Stop messing it up with your competition and your alternative solutions. Like, how do you guys feel about the way it's going to break down as far as some games being available on one service and some only on another?
I think it's going to just exist that way probably for the next year or two, and then you're going to start to see some companies merging, acquiring. I mean, there'll be some consolidation of the marketplace. Or you'll see more. I mean, you know, I never would have predicted 10 years ago that Rhapsody would still be in business alongside iTunes.
Yeah, who would have thought?
And then there's different...
And it's just barely in business, but it's still there.
Dude, e-music is still in business.
Yeah.
How is that happening?
Right.
You know, I mean, because they've always had sort of the weird, quirky selection compared to the others. And I think that's the thing. I think selection... as long as there's an audience for the selection you're offering, you'll stay in business. And with Origin, when EA starts doing exclusives through Origin, I think even though Origin won't have everything Steam has, I think that's going to keep Origin going because they have enough big titles that you're going to only be able to get through Origin.
I think we're in for 10 years of confusion, pain, and agony as we go from Steam looking like, oh, this is what we want. You know, we want the one place. Because it's run by Valve, you're going to get more video game companies saying, oh, I want to be part of that. If this thing was run by Amazon or if it was run by Apple, I mean, not that that would ever happen, but if, you know, if it was run by somebody who wasn't a game company, it would be a whole different situation. And it would have its own complexities, but it wouldn't be EA saying, well, I'm going to do it. Instead, with games, we have the game companies themselves doing what the record companies only dreamed of doing.
That's true.
And tried doing, but failed at, which is we're going to control the distribution. So I think for a while, you're going to see fragmentation.
And
you're going to see it moving into this area where all of the game companies are going to have their own versions. And Fiasco is right because some of them are going to be good, like Steam. Some of them are going to be horrible and trying to lock you down and limit you and encouraging piracy inadvertently until it finally collapses into a few different companies, and then we get cross-licensing, and then it ends up being the way the television industry works, I think, in the end, where CBS makes American Idol, but it airs on Fox. Yeah, and I think we'll end up having like 3 or 4 distribution companies, and you can get most of the games on every one of them because they all cross-license.
And Tom, I'm sorry, Brian, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, do you think that that Valve made a mistake on its initial launch of Steam by not spinning it off as its own company the way I forget what all the partners were who created Hulu. Hulu was its own entity, and obviously these investors had a huge stake in it, but it was able to maintain the presence of being its own distribution channel.
I think Steam is partially perceived that way. I mean, I perceive Steam that way. I mean, I know that Valve has a huge, ownership and interest in it, but I perceive it more.
No, but I think Brian's got a good point, which is why if Valve might have avoided this by bringing in EA and saying, we'll give you a stake.
EA wouldn't have gone for
in
it,
Steam.
though, I don't think.
Well, and maybe that's why it didn't happen.
Yeah,
but,
I think
if they could, I think Steam would have succeeded much better at what Hulu is doing than Hulu is.
No, I agree with that, and I mean, but I think you're going to see much more fiasco and much more of these situations blow up in people's faces. And Tom, I'm not sure if you've heard, but in response to this fiasco, GameStop is giving people $50 credits.
All right, you bastards!
I hadn't heard that when I mentioned it earlier on the show.
Yeah. Who'd have thought?
I should listen to myself more. Well, it is kind of like the GameStop is paying for its mistake here by saying, having to give people all this credit. Now, they know that a lot of people aren't going to cash this in. Yeah. Because you have to actually apply for it, go into the store, get it, and use it.
Get asked if you want to sign up for a subscription to Game Informer. Do you want to join their exclusive club? Could you pre-order anything? Man, GameStop is just, it's a last resort. That is where I go as an absolute last resort to buy games.
The last game I bought at GameStop was the Beatles Rock Band.
I'll buy a used game at GameStop.
Yeah, mine was Rock Band too.
If it's something that I can pick up for incredibly cheap. That's actually the reason why I go there. Just for used games. But even then, last resort. I prefer Amazon. Even Walmart or Target is just simple, and they have,
because you're there already to buy like something else.
My wife goes to Target every week.
Exactly.
I'm always at Target.
Shall we move on to what we're playing?
Let's move on to what we're playing.
What are you playing, Glenn?
Man, okay, so I didn't play Deus Ex this week. I feel bad. I have my copy of Deus Ex. A part of me was waiting because I want Brian to play it because I know Brian's more of a fan of the series than I am. I liked the first game. Didn't really get into the second game very much, but Deus Ex Human Revolution is out. Part of the reason I didn't play it is because EA, lo and behold, sent me an early copy of Madden 2012.
Yeah, I was gonna rag on you for not playing Deus Ex Human Revolution after you gave us such a hard time last week, but then that's a pretty damn good reason.
And my embargo is lifted today. Today I can talk about it. Yay! Madden 2012 is awesome. And it was funny because I was telling you in the pre-show, like yesterday, I was like, say I'm going to play Deus Ex. And then my brother came over and we just had to fire at Madden. That's all I did yesterday, was just play head-to-head with my brother and just whoop his ass with the Packers.
Now, you were a big NCAA
Yeah, and
fan.
I got to say,
you weren't sure if you were going to love Madden.
There are some interesting differences. Madden this year compared to NCAA 2012. NCAA 2012 is a little more sim-based, I think. Madden is a little more run and gun, a little more just action football, which I really like. And part of the difference, and maybe this is just totally a perception issue, but I think when you're dealing with college players, and I say this to someone who has like a very tenuous grasp on football as a whole, but someone who enjoys the games. With college players, your coaching decisions are so much more important because the athletes are only so talented. So if you don't call the right play and execute it correctly, you're not going to make those passes, you're not going to make those plays. With Madden, because it's the NFL and you have better players, your probability is much better, so you don't have to think as much. There's not as much strategy involved, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's just smash mouth football going for it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. So I've dug into that for a couple days, really enjoying it. If you like football, Madden comes out Tuesday, and it is a solid game. Big improvement on previous years. They made a lot of little tweaks and fixes, and I'll have more information once I kind of dig in more over the next week. The other thing, speaking of EA Sports games, that you could check out right now free,
it's in the
NHL 2012 demo went live Tuesday, and I gotta say, this is the best console, like just from the demo, this looks like it might be the best console hockey game, at least in recent memory.
Xbox?
Xbox, PS3.
Which one are you playing?
I'm playing
demo?
PS3.
Oh, PS3, okay.
It reminds me a lot of like NHL 94, a lot of the in terms of the gameplay, sort of the Twitch gameplay factor, but the graphics, you do that double take where it looks almost real from the right angle. Just the demo, I mean, you can only play one period, Bruins versus Canucks, but hockey's a sport that I keep telling myself I need to get more into.
So you never get to the riot?
No, well, there's fighting in the game, though.
Inside the game.
Yeah, inside the game. But I'm really digging it for a demo. The game comes out, I believe, September 9th. Really looking forward to that one. Other demo I was playing this week is Body Count on the PS3, which just kind of feels like an average first-person shooter. I like Brink better, to give you an idea of where it stands.
Cool.
And that's saying something because I wasn't super high on Brink.
Well, as you know, I got way more into Brink once I actually played with friends actually there at the QuakeCon LAN party. I've been on the road a lot, obviously, so I've been playing a lot of iPad games. Unfortunately, I don't have my iPad 2. I have my iPad 1 with me on the road, so I need suggestions for people for what games I should be downloading. Right now, I'm playing a bunch of Civilization Revolution, and which really holds up. I mean, it's cartoony and it's super simple, and I'm actually playing the iPhone version on my iPad, but the core fundamentals, that just one more turn aspect of it is completely solid. And I'm also playing Ticket to Ride, an adaptation of the board game, which the AI is pretty easy to beat, and I'm not entirely happy with the way that the interface works with the Game Center, the Apple Game Center, but it's suitable. I want to hear their suggestions though. So hit me up over Twitter at Shwood, SHWOOD, or at Brian@Shwood.com on email.
I got a couple iPad games for you. The first one, I don't know if you'll want to play.
Tiny Tower.
No, it's not Tiny Tower. It's called Kingdoms at War. It is not from the folks who do like Vampires Live and all of those games, but it's very similar. So it's a sim, massively multiplayer online game, and it's very much like you get your kingdom, you build your buildings, and then you go off and you make allies and you do war and you buy elixirs of rage, and it's very much a non-action strategy game. I thought it was going to suck me in because it has all the elements of things I like in a turn-based kind of strategy sort of game, and it's massively multiplayer, and they have a chat room built in so you can try to make alliances with people. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a little better than what goes on with the Vampires Live folks, but it's just not capturing me. So
oh really? It
might be worth a look, see if it sucks you in the way it has other people. But what I like much better is Eternity Warriors. This is also online RPG type game, but it's just much better graphics and much better gameplay. And it's again, and it's another RPG type of thing, but it's from Glue, and it's just much better constructed.
Huh. So now, you know what I have not seen anywhere on the iPad? What just happened?
Oh, it's my. I can. Oh, but it's over here.
Oh, that was very weird.
All right.
What I have not found out there, then I can't believe it, is something that relies on the Heroes of Might and Magic 3 kind of gameplay dynamic. The same thing that you get out of, what's the other one? Why can I not remember it? Anyway, the chat room will remind me right now. The Heroes of Might and Magic style game, and there was another one that just came out last year that was the original that was based on. The chat room doesn't have it, which means I don't have it. But anyway, that kind of gameplay I really like, and it would be so easy to do on the iPad, but it can't.
If I can get in the way of your mic.
Nobody has it.
Oh, you got it over mine. Okay. It's next to, okay. Right.
King's Bounty. There we go. Chat room came through for me. The King's Bounty series, which I've been playing. Yeah.
I'll try to get, there we go. All right. So take a look at that, Brian. Like that, this is your controls are very simple. Front, on the left, you got a stick to move yourself around. Wow. On the right is your fighting.
Kind of like Diablo.
And yeah, it is. It's very similar to Diablo. You've got a partner who can either be just kind of a dumb computer partner, or you can actually recruit other friends from Game Center that you play with.
Play co-op?
To play co-op mode.
Nice.
And you can pick up potions to give yourself health. You uncover treasure. So yeah, it is kind of a a Diablo type clone, but it's really fun to play. It's just got smooth gameplay. It works well. It's just at that right difficulty level as you go along to get better the more you play it. So check that out.
It's King's Bounty.
It's Eternity Warriors.
Oh, Eternity Warriors.
Yeah. Eternity Warriors is the name of it. Then I also picked up The End at playtheend.com that you were talking
have
about.
Have you gotten into it? How
yeah,
far
I got into it. I like it. You know what the problem is? I discovered after playing 3 or 4 levels that you can actually go in and answer the philosophical questions
without
playing the levels. Yeah, and so I just went in and I answered them all and found out who I'm compared to, and I was like, do I want to keep playing the levels? Well, the levels are pretty fun, so I played a few more, but
yeah, the levels are good, and I'm not really crazy about platformers in general, but that board game at the end with the power-ups on it, I loved it, man. I could play
that's a nifty game. I'd like to be able to play that online against somebody too. Like yes. I don't know if that's available and I just didn't see it, but that would be a cool thing to be able to do.
Skip Lives in the chat room, I think, just solved my dilemma. He said that Sid Meier's Pirates is on the iPad, so that's an automatic definite purchase.
Defender of the Crown for the iPad.
Yeah, all right.
Come on,
get Rage's paycheck for the iPad. Well, you can get Rage for the iPad.
Play the Degrassi game. You'll get hooked.
I love Pirates.
Are you playing Rage for the iPad?
Yeah. Oh no, I got Rage before Rage HD came out. Like the original Rage iPad game.
Yeah, but have you got Rage HD?
Yeah, I did not get Rage HD because I don't have my iPad 2 on the road with me.
Okay.
But Rage 1 looks super awesome, man. I mean, just the regular Rage on the iPad.
Can't wait for its paycheck.
So let's look at what's coming out this week. Of course, Madden NFL 2012 hits on Tuesday across all console platforms. No PC version this year, looks like, but it is coming out for the PS2. They're going hardcore.
Yeah.
And Jason French,
best-selling console ever.
Well, Jason French was telling us, from EA Sports was telling us that, they still support that. They still support the PSP. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I guess when you have such a big AAA
huge
title,
install base.
Hopefully it'll make a return to the PC one year, though. I think it's been a couple of years.
That would be nice, yeah.
Since they've done that. And he kind of hinted at that. I don't want to infer too much from
him. Right. It's not like a promise, but
that maybe a PC version could be back on EA Sports' horizon. Also coming out, The Sims Medieval is that right? Pirates and Nobles. Body
Probably
count.
pirates, not pyregs. Or pierogies. Pierogies and Nobles.
Pierogies and Nobles. Body Count, the aforementioned first-person shooter. Sing 4, the Hits Edition with microphone for the Nintendo Wii.
Woo.
And Battlefield Bad Company 2 is now a Platinum Hits game for $19.99.
Oh, so you get it cheap. Nice.
But coming up in upcoming weeks, I mean, there's some cool stuff coming out. I mean, like we said, NHL 2012 is coming out the week after. Dead Island comes out 10 days away from Dead Island. That's going to
really only 10.
Yeah,
wow.
I know September's already here. Can you believe it?
No kidding. Yeah.
And I mean,
it's a big week with Madden.
Yeah,
already,
I mean, it's when really Deus Ex: Human Revolution kicked off. I think the fall gaming season. So
Can you play the Glenn name game and call it Mad Glenn?
Mad Glenn. That's terrible.
Okay, just checking. The chat room was wondering that.
So people know, I mean, it's looking like a pretty strong fall lineup of games for us here on At the Controls. I think we got plenty to talk about over the coming weeks and months and years.
We'll launch the show eventually.
And beyond. Yes, and we'll launch a show with the LAN Party, the after show gaming. We were talking with Leo Laporte earlier about that, and the plans to firm that up. Hopefully sooner rather than later. We'll be out of beta.
John Pryor, call me.
Yeah. Let's move on to our retro segment. Retro game this week I picked because I put together some stuff on an external hard drive to add to the Twit arcade machine. Here. Oh, we have the intro? Yeah, I had it. Well, show the intro. I didn't see the video. I didn't know.
We're out of practice for anything but random awesome of the week with it. Just go ahead and play it again if you got it. Oh. Yeah, it's cool.
We're just looking at me.
All right. Hey, it's him, Mario.
Yeah. Okay, so what I chose this week for the retro game today, Liz, who's working behind the boards here, we've been talking about it because we've been putting in a surprising amount of time on the Twit arcade machine, playing Street Fighter, playing Darkstalkers, or Darkstalkers or Darksiders, the vampire one, the Capcom fighting game. And we've been talking about the need for more games on there. So I put together some MAME stuff and the Daphne emulator, which does all the old Laserdisc full motion video games.
Ooh,
and it had me thinking about Dragon's Lair.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, this is the week to do Dragon's Lair as our retro pick of the week. We have some video footage. We have a link to a YouTube video there. Of the
Dragon's Lair was the promise of like a movie as a video game.
Everybody's a winner.
Wrong segment. That's fine.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
random
remember that
awesome
part
of
of
the week.
Dragon's Lair. That was the part when he found like a really.
We need you to
awesome
play the YouTube video from Retro if you can get that up.
Full screen there.
There we go.
So what was crazy about Dragon's Lair? Of course, it was completely revolutionary at the time.
First arcade game to cost $1 a play.
Yeah, right. I remember that. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, and you would play it for maybe 20 seconds because you just had to know. You could buy. I remember buying and reading a book that did nothing but every page described what scene you were walking into and which direction you needed to go. And once you bought that book, it was actually a lot more fun. But here's the crazy part is people don't remember how horribly buggy the game actually was to play. They did a direct port for I don't know if it was the iPhone or on the computer, but they had to go back and fix it because it was so herky-jerky unplayable with the access times to go from one section to another.
Yeah, and it was a Laserdisc-based game. All the animation was done by the Don Bluth Company. And I mean, the animation quality is fantastic. And I think what was interesting about it, this and the Firefox game that used full motion video, I think were the first two great examples in gaming of if you have enough graphical bells and whistles, people will ignore the fact that you have very limited gameplay.
Yeah.
Because with Dragon's Lair, I mean, it was very much hit the button, hit the stick at the exact right time.
And the reason for that was they were using Laserdisc animations. Everything was pre-done, pre-rendered. There wasn't anything rendered on the fly, or at least almost nothing rendered on the fly.
And as a matter of fact, I remember like a decade after when, I was in second grade when this came out. And then a decade later, I'm at San Diego Comic-Con and one of the booths, they were just playing the Laserdisc as a movie. And the way the Laserdisc worked is each kind of chapter, it would play through, going through the entire thing as a sensible narrative. And then it would stop and it would play all the death animations of what could have happened for all the different ways you could have died during it.
If you didn't hit the right
buttons,
buttons, yeah.
And it was hypnotic, man. There was a giant group of people gathered all around to watch this thing.
Yeah, Dragon's Lair I've seen all the way through a couple times. You know which one I still haven't seen a full playthrough on is Space Ace.
Space Ace is, I think, way
sequel,
underrated. It was such a neat... I actually like Space Ace a little bit better than Dragon's Lair. I think Dragon's Lair is far more iconic for what it means to us. But,
it was everywhere. Yeah, you didn't find Space Ace as many places.
Yeah, they had this at the pizza parlor in Alameda where I used to go as a child.
They still had this in the Illini Union when I went to college in the late 80s.
And it's available on all platforms now. I mean, pretty much, in fact, during the 90s, every time there was a new CD-based platform like 3DO, Sega CD, Philips CDI, it got a port of Dragon's Lair.
But don't you feel like none of those are really living up to the full fidelity of the Laserdisc? Like, there's a part of me that it's totally irrational, but there's a part of me is like, yeah, but that's just a digital copy of the Laserdisc. Even though the Laserdisc is a digital
in fact,
format.
you can get Dragon's Lair and Space Ace in a full DVD version that just plays on a DVD player.
Yeah.
just using the arrow
That's
keys.
pretty cool. That's
I mean,
at least closer.
It's that simple.
And that's, I'll tell you, I noticed that same thing. It's like there's almost, you long for, and I don't want to call Laserdisc analog by any stretch, but it was super high fidelity to where now when you get it, you see a lot of the compression artifacts when you play.
Well, Laserdisc was analog. No,
Yeah,
Laserdisc
it
was analog. You're
format,
right.
but they've come out with both Dragon's Lair 2, Space Ace, and Space Ace 2 all in HD versions. That footage we were just showing from the HD version. So, I mean, it actually looks fantastic. They've gone back to the original cell animation and remastered it. I mean, it looks really good.
I would like to only play I would only like to play Dragon's Lair with the actual original film of the animation running.
Well, you got to blink as you run it in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
And then you decide.
And then as
what
I
to do.
press
It's
jump,
like choose your own
someone
adventure.
changes the film and runs the other
Well, and
part.
that's the thing, and Curtis B's mentioning it in the chat realm, and that's what I'm saying. It was the first game completely on rails.
Oh, yeah,
and in
talk
fact,
about rails.
And that's the game that I still mention. I mean, with Sega CD, that was the criticism of every game. You know, if I want to be critical of a game that's on rails, I'll say it's basically Dragon's Lair, because that was the problem with the game, was that your gameplay was so limited to you either hit the button at the right time or you don't. That's the gameplay. And I think that even though it's very easy to knock a lot of games for that, with Dragon's Lair, since it was the first one, since it innovated that on-rail style of gameplay, for me at least it gets a pass.
Yep.
You know, even and I'll extend that pass to Space Ace, the Space Ace series as well, as being the first ones that really pushed the envelope and did something different. Because at the time, I mean, God, when I was 7 or 8 years old when Dragon's Lair came out, mind blown.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, how do you play a cartoon?
It's a freaking cartoon.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it works, sort of.
Yeah, so I'm going to be installing that with the Daphne emulator on the Twit Arcade machine after the show here, so we can waste some time with that. And of course, Killer Instinct, so Liz will finally shut up about it because she wants to play it so bad. So we're going to
let's take a break and thank our sponsor, HD DVD, makers of high quality, high definition movies. You can get your HD DVD Xbox player add-on eBay and Craigslist everywhere.
Let's move on to the random awesome of the week.
Dun, 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 dun.
Everybody's a winner.
Everybody's a winner.
There we go.
There's the retro.
This show is so all over. I blame the party Sunday. Even though it's now 5 days later, I still blame the Twit party Sunday night for why everything is so.
It echoes through time.
Yeah, it ruined everything.
What is our random awesome of the week, Glenn Rubenstein?
Dude, it's got to be the Portal No Escape short film.
I know it came out earlier in the week. I mean,
I know
and it totally deserves another mention.
That's the thing.
We actually talked about it on TNT
as well.
It'll
be too late in the week, and I said, no, you know what? Worth mentioning. If you haven't seen it yet, where have you been on the internet this week? How have you not seen this yet?
Do you hate Dan Trachtenberg?
Yes.
Is that why you haven't watched
directed by Dan Trachtenberg. And I mean, it's just so well done. Do we have some of the video, the YouTube link?
The cinematography is excellent.
There it is, the footage.
The footage.
It's coming.
You may want to jump ahead to about 40 seconds in here.
Yeah. Once you get a load there we go. So I mean, it's what, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, somewhere in between there, and it's sort of the first part of what looks like it could be an ongoing story based on the main character of Portal, and the Portal story.
Yeah, I mean, the production design is just so well done. I mean, it's really, really a nice looking short film, and I think that it captures the spirit of the game, which is what I really liked about it. So we won't show the whole thing. Check it out. Put up a link on the Twitter. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein, or you can just find it anywhere on the internets.
One of the regulars in our chat room worked on the graphics.
Yes,
Angel
Mercury, who I spent a long time talking to at the Twit party. Yeah, you were there, telling me I really got to check out some Japanese visual novels. That's what I remember. Which I still need to check out. You got to Angel Mercury, email me the link to those games you want me to check out, because I will get on that. But yes, she worked on some of the visual effects for the short film. So definitely check it out. And then, Brian, did you add another random awesome there?
Yeah, I stuck in another footnote here, and I feel really bad. It's one of those things where you hear about the story about something launching just 20 minutes before something else, and whatever was there first captures the world's attention. Within the first day, this Portal film that Dan Trachtenberg, Dan of the Totally Rad Show, super cool guy, his comes out, gets 250,000 views in the first day. Now it's in multiple millions, and it's got all this buzz. And I feel bad for the team that put together together Escape from City 17 Part 2. Part 1 is amazing. Part 2 was made for less than $250. And it's beautiful and has its own story to tell as well. One, of course, Dan's takes place in the Portal universe. Escape from City 17 tells the story of the rebels who get out of City 17 at the end of, or some of the rebels at the end of Half-Life 2. But it's a phenomenal story in its own right, and I think that City 17 deserves to be seen, if for nothing else than because you get more story. The big complaint when the Portal short was that it was so tiny, but this City 17 has its own very complete story arc. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's killing me that it's 2 days. It came out later, and I think it's only like 350,000 views right now. So I highly recommend this.
And Portal and Half-Life, same universe.
Well, yes, they are. They are in that
So
same
they're
way.
kind
that
of
Starscream
related.
Hutch and the A-Team were in the same universe.
Well, I think with the Portal short movie, what struck me as really very much wasn't that it was trying to tell a story. It was almost more proof of concept, similar to how the Mortal Kombat web series started by doing a proof of concept to try and get some funding and get some people officially on board to do a regular project. And I think, that's the thing. The Portal thing, don't get me wrong. I mean, the Mortal Kombat web series, when fleshed out, I thought was incredibly boring and convoluted and great production value. But aside from that, it didn't really offer much more than the first and second. I mean, I actually secretly kind of enjoy the first Mortal Kombat movie, but with
unless you are dying in the next 20 minutes, you have no excuse not to watch both of these.
Yes.
There you go. Done and done. Hey, speaking of dying in the next 20 minutes, I got to get on stage and probably die. I'm up against my heart out, but thank you guys so much. I had a lot of fun again.
Yes, we'll see Brian back here in 2 weeks post Dragon Con, and
you got it.
Thanks for making time, Mr. Brushwood.
You got it, guys. All right, I'll see you later, man.
All right, see you, Brian. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Yeah, let's wrap it up with some feedback.
Now it's time for feedback with Glenn and Tom on At the Controls.
Got a couple things from people, but one thing I thought was interesting, and I wanted to read this bit, and then I want to get people to contribute more things along these lines. Tyler Gill sent in something just giving a recommendation about El Shaddai, which we talked about in recent weeks, just saying that it's the most visually stunning game he's ever played, and the Okamai or Akami of this console generation, and says no hyperbole, the game is freaking beautiful. It switches from 2D to 3D platforming to 3D action games similar to Devil May Cry. The story is a little bit of a puzzler, as it is a Japanese-based game based on the Book of Enoch, an ancient Hebrew text that revolves around Noah's grandfather that has been kind of shunned out of existence in modern times, from what I can gather. It's pretty liberal with the story, but the game is stunning and plays pretty damn good. The demo is on PSN, Xbox Live, and it features just a sprinkle of the various art styles that the game features. But be warned that the game is tough, so just play it on easy.
It's pretty, though.
Yes, no, it definitely is. And the reason I wanted to read this is in feedback we get a lot of different stuff, but what I would like you, yes, you watching or listening right now, to send us in some listener reviews, because we talk about what we're playing on the show. We want to know about what you're playing. So feel free, whether you want to send in an email talking about what games you're currently hyped on, or if you want to shoot your own video, we'll show it here on the show.
Yeah, send us a link.
Just send us a link to what you're playing. Talk about, what you're into, what you're excited about, and we'll feature it on the show, because I know, as we've talked about, we try and cover everything that we can, but between the three of us, there are only so many hours in the week, that you can spend on Tiny Tower.
This is I've actually stopped playing.
I'm very impressed.
This is your chance to be at the controls.
Yes. To be at the controls of At the Controls.
Right.
So you could send those videos or those links to twitgameshow@gmail.com. And we'll, of course, feature the best ones right here on the show, Fridays at 4 on Twit.
All right. That's it, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Do we have the outro music queued up? Well, until next time, I'm Glenn Rubenstein on behalf of myself, Tom Merritt, Brian Brushwood, and our special guest, Alex Gumpel, reminding you that time enjoyed is never time wasted, especially when you're at the controls. See you next Friday.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-